Mexico all the way. Well, I essentially grew up there, 4 years old on, so.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Boulder Rotary. I'd like to turn it over to Chris Coker for the pledge and the four-way test.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thanks, Chris. So welcome to Boulder Rotary, the best place to be on a Friday afternoon. Whether you're here in the room with us or on Zoom, there are approximately 15 people on Zoom right now, so it's going up, the number's going up. 19, so maybe 21, 22. Anyhow, this is a multi-access event, and we're gracious for everybody who's here, no matter how you attend. I'd also like to say a special thank you to the Browns, Daryl and Sally, for filling in last week. I got a chance to watch the program. It was really remarkable what happened here and all the great work and all the great information that was provided. RE Polio. $7,000 were donated by the generous members of this club. And when you combine that, with the match from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, that comes out to $21,000. Applause. And if you want to know how many lives you impacted, 7,000 kids. Applause. So thanks to the Browns and thanks to all of you for all of your generous donations and all of the great information that we had about polio last week. Now I'd like to turn it over to Don Wolford for the guests here in the room.
Hi, I'm right behind you.
Hi.
You want to introduce your guest?
Yeah, so I'm Psyche, and this is my mother, Deb. She is visiting from Iowa. She is a Rotarian in Iowa. She's a former director of a children's museum, and now is the project director for a Rotary mission to Guatemala that brings cleft palate and lip surgeries and cataract surgeries to the people of Huehuetenango.
Along with Brian Nichols.
Along with Brian Nichols.
You can sit down and do it.
Hi, everybody. I'd like to introduce a very good friend who I met not that long ago, back in March, on a project that I'm doing. Tim Hughes, originally from Colorado, Boulder, Colorado, went to Boulder High, and then something happened to him and decided to go west and then east, and ended up in Rochester, New York, and worked there on some fairly large projects. Anyway, I'd like you all to welcome Tim Hughes.
So this is John Eastman. He and I work together at the Longs Peak Council, Boy Scouts of America. He's a visiting Rotarian from the Longmont Rotary Club, and he's also my boss, which means I have to be on my best behavior today. So.
This is a face you all recognize, John Terr, who's the president of the Boulder Chamber of Commerce, visiting us today to help honor our Jim Schwebe Peace Award winner, Leslie Durgan, over there at that table. John sat in as one of our volunteers on the selection committee, so we wanted to thank him today.
Yes, it's my honor to introduce you once again to Susan Schwebe. Susan? And to my lovely wife, Gail Palmer.
Here for his second visit is Hal Osteen, former owner and partner in Hoshi Motors, and planning to put in his membership, but maybe not until April, because between now and April, he's going to the Antarctic and will spend the rest of the winter in Breckenridge.
I'd like to introduce you to Fredna Moritz. I met Fredna this morning, just this morning, at the Boulder Art Museum, where they're initiating a huge project to celebrate Black history, and I encourage all of us to attend when they get that presentation together. Edna is from an education family. She was an educator, her husband was an educator, and they're big believers in education, clearly, and I thought Rotary is a great fit, and Edna is interested in joining, so please welcome her to our club.
Kurt Fierenhaber is our guest, and at the same time is as close to Boulder Rotary over the years as can be. A former member, is it probably about 20 years ago now, Kurt, having spent a number of these intervening years in South Africa as a director for Sub-Saharan Africa for Habitat for Humanity. And Kurt has also now served our club as part of the selection committee, representing the city of Boulder, and alongside John Taylor. We're so glad that Kurt has been able to serve in this way. Kurt Fierenhaber. And Kurt is Director of Housing and Human Services for the city of Boulder.
I think we have everybody in the room. Thank you and welcome. And then I'd like to welcome our guests on Zoom. If you would like to unmute yourself and then say a few words. I think we have Chuck again this week. Would you like to say hi, Chuck?
Yeah, greetings from Seminole, Florida, and greetings especially to your illustrious president. Chad, we're going to be with your sister here at Horses for Handicap in Ackworth, Georgia in a few weeks, so I'll give her a hug for you.
And then I think we've got Dominica. If you'd like to say hi.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm past president of the Rotary Club of Montego Bay, Jamaica, and back with you again this week. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you. And lastly, we have Mark Schlersen.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, it's good to be back again. And Jean mentioned that this week's topic was space related, so I came a-running. So anyways, it's good to be back, and thanks for having me.
Thanks, everyone. Welcome to Zoom.
Yeah, thanks to all of our guests and visitors, and welcome to Boulder Rotary. If you could take out your raffle tickets now, as I do some announcements, give you a little time to pull those out. A couple of things I just want to mention. As you may see down here at the end of the stage and over here at the entryway, we have new banners for Boulder Rotary. We have a new four-way test banner that is not falling off anymore, right, Vanessa? It actually stays there. I would like to thank Jancy Campbell and Vanessa Mead for making that happen. The district provided free money for PR as long as we use the master brand logo. And we have done that, and we created and purchased banners on the district dollars. So thank you, Jancy, and thank you, Vanessa. I also want to mention auto Rsvp. One of the questions that people have, what happens if I'm opted into auto Rsvp and I do not show up or I'm not coming to the meeting? The answer is that you can let us know and we will save the food so we're not purchasing meals that aren't being eaten. Nobody wants to waste food here, so that is a quick answer to that question. And I'd also like to take this as an opportunity to segue into a bit of recognition for Don Walford. Don Walford, I don't know if anybody knows this, but year after year, meal after meal, meeting after meeting, he has taken the leftover food and he's taken it to the Second Baptist Church where he's donated that extra food for homeless dinners there. He mentioned to me, though, that there's a problem. The Second Baptist Church is not holding a lot of homeless meals right now, and he's looking for a new place where we can donate the extra food that we have here at our meetings. So if anybody has any ideas, please get with Don and let him know. A ton and a half of food. I mean, that's a significant amount of food. So thank you for all that you do. And yeah. So let him know if you have any other ideas on where that food can be donated. Okay, the raffle winner, 724-346. There he is, Mr. Don Wolford. Now, if you don't believe in karma, you should. That's prime example right there. Next, I'd like to have Sam Pottinger come up for a very special presentation.
Rotarians and guests, it's my honor to present to you the 2021 recipient of the Boulder Rotary Club's Jim Schwebe Peace Award, Leslie Durgan. Leslie was officially announced the recipient on September 21st, the International Day of Peace, at the Boulder Civic Center on the Infinite Walk of Peace, where her name, along with other winners, will be placed on a soon-to-be-dedicated, we got approval, marble monument. Yay. Leslie Durgan was the City of Boulder's mayor for 7 years in the 1990s. She has served in executive roles in numerous nonprofit organizations in her professional career in human services and public policy. Mayor Durgan has been on over 15 nonprofit board of directors and is currently the vice president of the Fraser Medal Board of Trustees and Emergency Family Assistance Board. Assistance Association, one more A. Yeah. She's an honorary doctorate of human letters from Wilson College in Pennsylvania, a master's degree in public administration from the University of Colorado, and completed the state and local government leadership program at the Kennedy School of Harvard. Leslie has lived in Boulder since 1972. She's married to Sam Fitch. Yeah, I knew it was around there. He's a professor emeritus in public science at the University of Colorado, and they have 2 grown sons that are married, I believe. Are they married?
Married. 4 grandchildren.
And 4 grandchildren. All right, good. Grandmothers are doing more these days. The annual Jim Schwebe Peace Award recognizes persons of outstanding achievement consistent with the ideals of Rotary, the advancement of world understanding, goodwill, and peace. They create a culture of peace. Ladies and gentlemen, your Jim Schwebe Peace Award winner, Leslie Durgan, for a few words.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a delight to be here and see so many old friends and colleagues. And I'm really struck, it's certainly much better to have your name carved in marble for the Jim Schwebe Award than on another marble plaque elsewhere in Boulder, which will be my future at some point in Boulder. I really want to acknowledge the Boulder Rotary and Jim Schwebe in particular for the many, many contributions to this community. The pledge is something I wish everyone in Boulder would take, and I wish everyone in Boulder would live by. But that's not the kind of community we've got at this point. It's contentious, it's energetic, it's robust, and it's somewhat divided on a number of issues, which makes leadership in this community particularly challenging and often invigorating. And I know, for example, that Kurt Fernhaber, who deals with it every day, and John Terre and many of you are really trying to work hard, as am I, to make this a better, a safer, and a more inclusive community than some others in Boulder would like to see. So I'm really very, very honored, and particularly because Jim Schwebe was a friend of mine. He and I worked together on a number of projects, and every once in a while he'd call me and say, I'll meet you at Barnes & Noble for a cup of coffee. And it was something I always particularly looked forward to. So I want to thank all of you for this honor. I am deeply touched. And I am looking forward at some point. I'm not going to Antarctica, but so I don't have a good excuse for not joining immediately, but I will. And I am wearing today the Paul Harris Award that Boulder Rotary gave me a number of years ago. So my relationship with Rotary, while somewhat distant, has been a strong and a positive one. I will say, however, I really sort of miss, we used to sing Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer due. You don't do that anymore. No? No song? No. I was asked to leave Rotary by one of your great leaders, and certainly a force in this community, Virginia Patterson, who said, Leslie, we expect you to be there every Friday. And I said, Virginia, I'm working full-time, I'm mayor, and at that point I also had cancer, so I was going through chemotherapy. And Gingy, as you all knew, sort of pulled herself up to her height and said, no excuses, dear, no excuses. So if you all will forgive me for that lapse and the many years in between, I will look forward to joining you on Fridays in the future by coming back to Rotary. And thank you very much for this award. I'm very, very honored. Thank you very much.
Thank you and congratulations, Leslie. If you want singing, I can provide that, but I can also provide jokes if you want. You just never know who you're going to sit next to when you come to a Rotary meeting, and you never know what stories you're going to hear or who you're going to talk to, and that's one of the greatest parts about being in this club. It's also great because if you want to participate in some Q&A, you'll have to come to a future meeting and sit at his table. So now we're going to go from the Cosmos to Cowboys. Dr. George Russell with birthdays.
I had a request to do a song. I didn't bring my guitar, so I'm going to do this not a cappella, I'm going to do it a cappella. I went to a barn dance on Saturday night, met two girls with eyes so blue. So I fell in love with Kate that night, fell in love with Edith too. We all were just so happy, my dreams had all come true. Then Kate found out about Edith, and now I'm feeling blue. So Kate and Edith left me, and it proves that old adage true. Because you see, to my chagrin, you can't have your Kate and Edith too. So you see, to my chagrin, you can't have your Kate and Edith too. We have one birthday girl today, Teresa Sazurek. Happy birthday, Teresa.
Thank you. Hello, Boulder Rotary. I want to thank, first of all, Carol Grieva, who sponsored me into Boulder Rotary over 25 years ago. It's been a great journey. I'm pleased to continue to participate. I'm actually in transition and seeking opportunities to contribute. I'm volunteering. For example, I'm a trustee of the Western Colorado University, mentoring, but looking for opportunities, whether it's in the public sector or the private sector. So let me, on my birthday, just share a little wisdom from The Alchemist, a great book by Paulo Coelho. And he says in here that what is a person's destiny? It's what you have always wanted to accomplish. Everyone, when they are young, knows what their destiny is. And when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. He goes on with a lot of other wisdom and says, listen to your heart, because wherever your heart is, that is where you'll find your treasure. Thank you, Boulder.
Be sure and sit at the birthday table close to your birthday. Thank you very much. Happy birthday, Teresa.
And let's go out to Las Vegas and the web with Nancy Chin Wagner.
Good afternoon. And today, for our membership moment, I have our wonderful Carol Grieva. So is Carol, does she have the microphone yet? Is she available?
Yes, it's gone.
Okay, I'm going to start. All right. Carol Grieva is a businesswoman and an author. She's originally from Tulsa area of Oklahoma in a small town called Sand Springs. She was an only child and grew up with loving grandparents, aunts, and cousins all over the world. That included her maternal grandparents, who lived 6 blocks away. Her paternal grandmother, which we call Mother May, was living next door, who was also raising orphan cousins, Becky, Charles, and Patty. And Becky was near her age, and so they were like sisters. Her parents had a family business doing oil field trucking, hauling tanks, pipe, treaters, and separators into 38 oil-producing states. The business was run from the home because in those days, they were not living within city limits. Her dad did management sales, her mom was a secretary, and Mother May was the bookkeeper. Something that really delighted Carol was a circular driveway with a gas pump on it. And at 16, she got her driver's license and a gas station. Carol and her first husband, Jim, were married in 1961. She taught sophomore English and journalism at Arlington Heights High School there. Expecting a new baby after high school years, moved to Oregon for several years where Jim worked. Their second son was born in Portland in 1964. Next move was settling in her dream state, which is the state of Colorado. And in Boulder in the 80s, Carol and Jim partnered in a startup employment business called Express Service, which was a recruiting to executive placement. She also ran alongside of this a temporary placement service. It was sold, and to this day, it has over 200 franchises in different countries. Her private world, though, toppled in 1989 when her husband, Jim, came out as gay. It was a total shock to Carol, pending decades of a long marriage. After the divorce, Carol decided to pursue her lifelong literary interest in a new way, not as a teacher, but as a writer. Carol and Jim stay close because they share 2 fine sons and 2 grown grandchildren. And she has been writing books ever since, starting with My Husband is Gay, A Woman's Guide to Surviving the Crisis. It has been translated into Spanish, Greek, and the Thai language. Carol found a new relationship years later with an old friend, Dr. Dale Meyer, a distinguished professor of business at the University of Colorado. They were married in 1999. They enjoyed 20 good years of shared interests and extensive world travel before his illness with dementia. Carol also needed more assistance because of her declining vision, so she sold her home in Boulder last February, moved to Balfour and Longmont in April, and then Carol said, "It is so comforting that we can again, under the same roof, albeit in separate wings here." So they're still together. Are you ready for question number 1, Carol?
I suppose so. You've laid out my entire life there.
And there's more. Okay. What was it like to be one of the first 3 women brought into Boulder Rotary?
It was a great honor. I was still in business, and I knew a lot of the male members of Boulder Rotary, and it gave me an opportunity to expand those contacts and remain an active member of Boulder business.
And you were the first woman who's accepted in Rotary in what year?
Was one of 3 first women in 1989. And I've been an active member ever since.
Wonderful. And who were the other 2? Do you remember? It was Ginny Patterson
and Alice Siegel.
There you go.
Deceased.
So what is your passion and drive that makes
Ricks came in a little later.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. But you were the first of 3 women in a sea of men.
In a sea of men, exactly.
What is your passion and drive that makes you do what you do?
I'm sorry, what passion?
Yeah. What is your passion and drive that makes you do what you do?
I love to write. I love to teach, and I can combine the 2 still, even though I've been long retired from business and other active things.
Mm-hmm. But you're still in the community, and you were very inspired by the polio project as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay. My last question is, what would you say to young entrepreneurs about how Boulder Rotary Club impacted you?
It's essential for good success in this city. I really believe it is. If not this club, then some other civic clubs, but I think civic involvement is essential. And I have enjoyed every minute of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol. And if you don't mind, please stay standing because we have a special thing for you. And I will have Fred focus on Marty, who is on stage at the podium.
So Carol, if you please stay standing. I see you in the dark. Oh gosh, back in July of 2017, Carol was the MC from my installation. As a former past president, I think you were years maybe 2021. Yeah, no, 2001. And we're not sure if you were the first female president or if that was Carol Riggs, and it doesn't really matter. But you've been just a wonderful friend, a confidant, an advisor. And certainly one of the things I think Carol embodies is, and really exemplifies, is the idea that if you find something in this club you want to do, you can make it happen. So a year ago, August, I went over to Carol's and we were chatting and I said, what do you think about writing? Because you really like to write. And she said, yeah, well, okay, so we now have a Rotary Writers Group with Carol as a co-facilitator, and Lena's in it, and Jancy's in it, and Pam's in it, and Diana Royce Smith, and so on and so forth. And it's been a wonderful outlet, but the point being, it was something like, she said, well, yeah, I was thinking about how I might get more involved. I thought, well, okay, let's make it happen. So we Zoomed for a long time, and now we're in person. The other things to tell you about Carol, certainly the business career and the life that Nancy told about. Sometimes you might not have been aware, but she was the wheeler and dealer behind getting all those rowdy past presidents lined up to greet you. Somebody had to do it, and she willingly did it for years. I don't know all of the other committees nor the impact. I know policy involvement and many, many things more. So we thank you, for being in Rotary. And as she said, in those early days, sitting at a table full of men, because that was about the only choice, and instead of being able to be inducted with the other two, Gingy and Alice, Carol had managed to break some ribs. And so she wasn't there for that day to be inducted in person. But eventually she healed up, she was inducted. And at this point, we would like to also say that we are making you an honorary member of Boulder Rotary. You may keep your current badge, or you may leave it here whenever you would like to return. And Vanessa, evidently, according to Chad, is working on a special kind of Rotary honorary badge for you. The only thing I could find, because I couldn't find a big H or anything, and we have all the stars taken for new members, so I've got this little B. So you are Queen Bee. You're supposed to be able to affix this, or if you don't want it, give it to Norris for the spelling bee. And then one last thing on a totally different note. Chad asked me to go ahead and share a bit of Rotary family news with you all. Larry Johnson, who many of you know, usually sits right over there, heavily involved with the crayons to calculators with the Browning team. He let us know this morning that his wife Celia had passed away. She evidently had a stroke about a week ago, and I don't remember the details from this morning, but evidently maybe there was another one. I'm not sure if they're in Colorado or Arizona, and I believe the service is this coming Friday. So we'll let you know more information in the rib, but if you would please hold that family in your hearts and prayers. I know that he would appreciate this as his Rotary family. So thank you very much.
Congratulations, Carol. Let's run the brew, please.
Past Presidents Sally and Darryl Brown did a great job last week, but we sure did miss President Chad Stam, and we know the real reason why he was gone. Here's him auctioning off some tickets for our foundation a couple of weeks ago.
Do I hear 60? Do I hear 60? $60? $60? I got 60. Do I have 70? $70? $70?
And here he is last week at the Livestock Markets Association of Canada Auctioneer School. That's right. We're really looking forward to the next time you auction off some tickets, Chad.
175.2. Give a quarter.
Every week in the Rib, that's the emailed newsletter from the BRC, you can find a button to reserve your next meal. You hit the button and fill out the form. Or you can choose Auto RSVP. That's an option on the form. It means that you reserve a meal for all our meetings. If you know you'll not be at a meeting, you can still let Vanessa know, and she'll make sure we don't keep a meal for you when you know you're not going to be there. We'll also send an email reminder to RSVP every week unless you sign up for Auto RSVP.
I'm here this week with Valerie. So with Halloween almost over, we have the next big holiday in November. Of course, we're talking about November 4th, National Hug-a-Bear Day. So, National Hug-a-Bear Day. Of these three bears, which one would you like to hug? A polar bear, a black bear, or a grizzly bear?
I think I'd hug the black bear.
The black bear, why would you hug the black bear versus the other two? Because the other two look pretty cuddly.
They're super cuddly, but they have much bigger claws than the black bear. So just in case, we don't hit it off right away, I'm going with the black bear.
Okay, you heard it here with Valerie. It is a black bear for National Hug a Bear Day, November 4th.
Do you remember where you were in 1984? Yep, there was a Dune movie that year too. And there was that ad, the Super Bowl ad, the one for Apple. Do you remember? There was one other thing. The Summer Olympics came to Los Angeles. It was actually the second time the Olympics came to Los Angeles. It was controversial, it was hugely successful, and it set a high standard for Olympics in the future. Our speaker next week, Art Hershey, was there. He helped set up the events and was one of the reasons it was such a success. Art Hershey, an Olympic retrospective. Get your red, white, and blue on for next week's program.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks to Bob Stunkel and Stan Gorelnik for greeting us at the door. Thanks to Kathy Olivier and Vanessa Mead for greeting us at the desk. Thanks to Valerie Lippitz and Carl Kurtz for pinch hitting at the raffle table. Thanks to Christina Liu for being there on Zoom for us if we needed her. And thanks to Fred, Lynn, and Vanessa for meeting management. Have a great weekend.